In the last book, it was strongly implied that Shawna Lee Quinn would leave town forever to help out her recently widowed sister, Vanessa. As it turns out, the sisters decided to open a bakery across the street from Hannah. That's almost the opposite of moving away forever.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
This review was commissioned through Patreon. The Magnolia Blossom Bakery is stealing all of Hannah's customers with their low prices and skimpy outfits. They're also stealing Hannah's boyfriend, Mike. He just spent all of last night in Shawna Lee's bedroom. Scandalous! The thing that really upsets Hannah? Their signature peach cobbler isn't all that good. How could the town abandon her cookies for a low-quality dessert? Hannah arranges a peach cobbler taste-off with all of her closest friends. They unanimously agree that Hannah's food is better. Andrea's daughter Tracy is smart enough to realize this means nothing. No one's gonna badmouth Hannah's food right in front of her. Not unless they want to be the murder victim in the next book. You might remember Andrea gave birth in the last book. Baby Bethany is completely ignored in this book. I don't care if Grandma helps with babysitting her. There is no way that a 2-month-old baby is so low maintenance Andrea can easily juggle raising her with being a full-time real estate agent, a part-time detective assistant, and a part-time wedding planner. The wedding is for Lisa and Herb. They plan to have an open dessert buffet, which is delicious and a good excuse to include recipes. I found it odd that multiple people brought wedding cake as the dessert. That seems like an insult when the bride is a professional baker. Shawna Lee is accidentally invited to the wedding. She's a drama queen, so she insists on bringing her peach cobbler in place of Hannah's. Mike gives both women a bouquet for Valentine's Day, but his bouquet for Shawna Lee is much more expensive. They prepare the wedding, and there's kind of a weird moment when Hannah lectures Andrea, saying Catholics don't use the word foyer, they use the word narthex. No, we don't. I actually looked up the word narthex in the Catholic dictionary. It turns out they stopped making nartheses in the 13th century. I have no idea where Hannah picked up that antiquated term. I've never heard of it before. Weirder still, this uber-Catholic moment is followed by a decidedly non-Catholic wedding. Catholics are married halfway through the Mass, not at the end, and the priest doesn't say, "I now pronounce you man and wife, you may now kiss the bride." So the author's research into Catholic weddings was limited to architecture. This has no effect on the book, since the wedding's mostly skipped over, but dang it, I had to live through Catholic wedding drama, so I noticed things were wrong. Mike is Hannah's date for the wedding reception, but he stands her up. Shawna Lee doesn't arrive either. Hannah's furious because she figures they're on a date together. She's half right. Mike did schedule a secret date with Shawna Lee tonight, but it never happened because Shawna Lee was killed. Hannah gets even madder to learn Mike waited hours for Shawna Lee, and he called her multiple times, but never bothered to call Hannah once. Hannah feels vindicated when she learns Shawna Lee's homemade peach cobbler is a fake made from frozen packages. I dare say Hannah is happier to learn she's the best baker in town than she is about not going bankrupt. Lisa gives up her honeymoon so Hannah can investigate. Let me repeat that. Lisa gives up her honeymoon so Hannah can have a few hours of free time. This is harder to believe than Andrea never having to be around her 2-month-old. If my boss wanted me to cancel my honeymoon so they could take some time off, I would probably quit. On the first day of investigation, actually, Hannah works all day, so Lisa gave up her honeymoon for nothing. On the first night of investigation, Hannah meets with her friends to discuss the case. Shawna Lee was killed around the time the wedding ended, so they double-check the alibi of every wedding guest. They discuss the possibility of Mike being the killer, which is one way to resolve Hannah's love triangle. Mike apologizes to Hannah for treating her like garbage, and like previous books, she has a hard time staying mad at him because he's a hot guy who's great at kissing. Mike tricks Hannah into making Orange Julius so he can give it as a gift to Vanessa when he spends the night with her. He claims it's strictly platonic, he just wants to honor Shawna Lee's memory, but Vanessa gets drunk out of her mind and Mike doesn't leave until 5 a.m. It sounds to me like Mike cheated on Hannah with both Quinn sisters. Vanessa is so hungover the next morning, she can't talk without pausing 5 seconds in between sentences. And yet she is still sober enough to repeatedly taunt Hannah about her night with Mike. Either she's not as drunk as she seems, or she is so used to boyfriend stealing, she does it on autopilot. They research Vanessa's past. She was a physical therapist and had a shady marriage to a super rich client, as in she kept him drugged most of the time and completely cut him off from the outside world. Mother interrupts with an emergency mystery. She just discovered her boyfriend is secretly hiding a photograph of him and Vanessa. Mother wants to know, why are they together? Why is he hiding this photo? What is her fiancé doing? Whoa, fiancé? Yeah. Mother says Winthrop proposed to her multiple times. I'm honestly surprised she kept the engagement a secret for so long. Hannah and Andrea research the photograph. It turns out Winthrop is really a criminal named Bobby Joe Peters. He was arrested for scamming old women out of their money, and broke out of jail with the help of a female accomplice. The women rush to stop Winthrop before he takes off with their mother's money. Winthrop drops his fake British personality and pulls a gun on Hannah. He explains Vanessa is his accomplice. They plan to split the money after Vanessa killed her husband, but she cut him out of the deal, so he tried to kill her. There's a minor problem with his explanation. Winthrop showed up in town 2 books ago. Vanessa first shows up in this book. It doesn't make sense that he came here to meet with Vanessa 2 books before she did. Anyway, Hannah's saved when her mother bursts into the room and attacks Bobby Joe with an umbrella. While Vanessa's being arrested, Hannah offers to get her the best lawyer in town. In exchange, Vanessa agrees to sell all of her brand new bakery equipment for $1,000. Hannah walks away chuckling, because the best lawyer in town is the only lawyer in town. Ha ha ha! Readers are supposed to be impressed by Hannah's clever trick here, but I thought she was being heartless. Vanessa is being arrested, and Hannah's first instinct is to cheat her out of thousands of dollars. What a jerk. At the post-mystery celebration, Mike apologizes to Hannah again, and he proposes. Norman interrupts and begs Hannah to marry him instead. She kisses Norman and says she'll let them know her decision soon. The end. Postbook follow-up. I'm going to start with the nice stuff. I really liked this book. I thought it was an excellent addition to the series. It's far better than the previous book, which was half-length. I really like the final third, where the investigation kicks into high gear. It went really smoothly, and Winthrop being the surprise culprit was a fantastic idea, played out perfectly. I didn't like the first third of the book as much, mainly because it took too long to get to the murder, which is on page 136. Now that said, the first third of the book is also pretty good. The wedding's great, and the rivalry between Hannah and Shawna Lee is surprisingly good, considering that Shawna Lee herself never makes an appearance. I really like the ending, too, where both men propose to Hannah. Finally, we're gonna get an end to this super drawn-out love triangle. However, I'm told Hannah doesn't get married until book 19, Wedding Cake Murder. That's 12 books away. So, is she really going to pick which man to marry now? Or is she gonna drag it out for another 10 books? I was fine with the love drama in this book. Yeah, it's totally good. But other reviewers hated the love drama with Mike. They particularly hate how Hannah is constantly getting jealous of Mike and Shawna Lee. And that makes sense. After all, Hannah has 2 boyfriends. She's been stringing them along since book 1. So she really has no right to get upset over the fact that Mike has a second girlfriend. He's only doing the exact same thing Hannah's been doing for months. Why is it okay for Hannah to date 2 men at the same time, but it's totally terrible for Mike to do the same thing? I think the reason I didn't get bothered by Hannah's hypocrisy here is that I'm 100% rooting for Hannah to marry Norman. So I have no problem with the story where Mike comes off badly. I kind of like that. Go Norman! There is a 3 to 4 chapter subplot where Hannah's cat gets a reputation as a great mouse catcher, even though he doesn't catch any mice. The story disappears halfway through the book, and it never gets mentioned again. There were several references to things I didn't understand towards the start of the book, and that made me feel kind of stupid. References to 1950s celebrities are going to be hit or miss in a 2005 book. At one point, Norman and Hannah are embarrassed for Andrea because she doesn't know who Dr. Samuel Johnson is. What an idiot! How does she not know about him? I had to look it up. He's a literary scholar from the 1700s. That seems kind of obscure. I don't think it's funny to stupid shame Andrea for not knowing who Dr. Johnson is. The series has a running joke where Hannah nitpicks people's grammar. In this book, she gets mad because Vanessa says clear instead of clearly. Mike says can't when he should have said mustn't. But I really got annoyed when Andrea says it's a fun store and Hannah's all, what an idiot, terrible grammar. What? It's a fun store is bad grammar? Is there anyone who was legitimately amused by Hannah dumping on Andrea in this fashion? Because, yes, fun can be used as an adjective, and Hannah's just coming across as a picky jerk for no reason. Good book. I especially liked it better than the previous one. I give Hannah Swensen number 7, Peach Cobbler Murder, an 8 out of 10.